Welcome back to As Told by You. We have some cool guests today. This is Courtney and Greg. They have a group called Best of the Midlands. I'll kind of let them explain what it is that they do, but I attended a meeting that they had in Lexington, and it was really, really cool. I think it's a great new concept for networking, that I hadn't really seen before. And so, Greg, tell us a little bit about Best of the Midlands and what it is y'all do.
Absolutely. So we're an association here in Lexington, Columbia, and what I like to say is we help facilitate rooms that help businesses break through ceilings and challenges in a group format. So that's really what we do at the core of what Best of Midlands is. It's bring together local businesses who are wanting to grow and get better and who don't want to just stay comfortable where they're at. So that's really what we're focused on, is creating that kind of mastermind feel, but here at a local level.
Cool. Courtney, how do you do that? How do you get to that point?
Yeah. So, it's actually a funny story on how we even came up with Best of the Midlands. We were talking about this yesterday. The idea originally started when we were doing some trainings from someone who's made millions of dollars in the home service space. And it was supposed to be just this little postcard that was just our referral partners, the best businesses we knew that we were already referring, because he at the time owned an epoxy coatings business and we were sharing this anyway, so why not put together the Best of the Midlands and hand that to all of our customers. And we ended up just not having time to put the energy into it, but we had the logo, we had the postcard design, we had all of it ready to go, and it was just right there, and it just sat for years. And then when we started attending different mastermind events and things all over the country and just experiencing these things in these rooms that we just felt was so crucial to have here and to give to the people around us and our network of friends and business owners who we felt they were just missing that extra piece of true community and support in their business and in what they were trying to do and break through some of those challenges. And so we were let's just create that room here with this brand we've already kind of established.
Yeah, that's awesome. What were you doing before? Go ahead, sorry.
I was just what's the event like?
Yeah.
Walk us through what it is.
So the event that Bill had attended was a hot seat event. And so that's open to anyone to come. And basically what we do is we have a little bit of networking at the beginning, and then we dive straight in. And so everyone puts a business card in, and we pull a name out, and we have them come up to the front of the room, and we give them a few minutes to tell us who they are, what they do, and what's a current challenge or problem that they're facing. And we just open it up to the room to give them feedback. It's a safe space. What we're sharing in that room stays in that room. We truly want to help these people grow and get through some of those challenges, because maybe they don't have a mentor, a business advisor, or just a network of people to help them through that. Or maybe they just need fresh ideas and perspective on something that they're really stuck on. And so we do that with 2 to 3 people. And then, again, we just go back into some networking after. But it's really just hounding in on the fact that we can be collaborative and help each other, rather than focusing on, this is my business and I have to be stuck in my problems and I can't share them with anyone, because that's just what we do.
Yeah, and I think one of the things with that is what we've seen is businesses that are doing a few $100,000 to even a few million. We all have problems that we're going through, but when you go to these networking events or chamber events or BNI, whatever you're in, you're not going to walk around oh, I'm struggling to make payroll. Oh, my employees suck. Oh, you're not going to just air out all your issues with everyone at these events. But the reality is most of us are dealing with these different problems in our businesses, but there's not always a good space to talk about it in. And so what we do is when we bring everyone together and we set the context and make the whole event about working through these challenges, well, now not only do you get to share the challenges and get them out there, but you have a room of people who are also in business dealing with this stuff who can give you live feedback and help you work through, or at least give you ideas to get your brain turning outside of just the perspective that we're sometimes locked into in that day-to-day rat race.
So do you have to be a business owner to attend, or is it, because a lot of networking events tend to be salespeople, right?
Yeah.
So is it business owner specific or CEO specific, or is it just anyone who's interested in networking? How does that work, and how many people kind of show up to these things?
Mm-hmm. So I'd say I'd say it's definitely more geared towards business owners and entrepreneurs, but business professionals, I would say, who who are maybe have a little bit more leeway in their company could still benefit from it. Like if you can't really make any decisions or you don't have any freedom, you could still come and you can learn, but I don't know how much it could help because you can't really implement any of these things. But definitely if you're a business professional who can have some autonomy within the business that you're in, kind of like an entrepreneur, it could still be beneficial, but it's definitely more geared towards business owners. And then, so like right now, we've only done 2, so we're averaging about 10 an event. Honestly, a sweet spot for hot seats is somewhere in like the 15 to 25 range. That's a really good number of people to be in a room. We've never been a part of one that was much bigger than that. You could go bigger, but it just gives less people opportunities to share. But we try to make sure there's paper and notepad so people can also write stuff down and turn it into the people. Because when you're kind of getting a fire hydrant in the face of information, it's nice to be able to go back and read it and kind of download that a couple days later.
Do you try to do more than one hot seat in a session, or?
Yeah, so we typically do 2 to 3 hot seats per event.
Nice. Do you have a speaker of any kind to talk about a specific topic that kind of warms people up, or?
So not right now. With the hot seats, it's kind of like a taste of what we're trying to do within the association because it's a member-based association. So the hot seats are kind of like come experience this, kind of get a taste of what it is, and then within our members-only meetings, we go a little bit deeper with some more strategy sessions, things like that. One of our goals is to work up to actually bringing masterminds here, which would be 2.5 day events. It's morning till afternoon, small break, dinner together. You're kind of all in, all-inclusive kind of thing. And at those, you'd have multiple hot seats, multiple speakers, lots of strategy. So that's where we're trying to take this to, but just starting here and kind of building up to that.
So the members only event is, what does that look like, and how much does it cost to be a member?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's $97 a month to be a member. So really easy, low barrier to entry. And the other types of events that we do, so for example, we just had one like 2 weeks ago, and it was like a mid-year pulse. And so my background's in operations, strategic planning, and so I took those things and I said, hey, let's review your business from a 7-point kind of strategic objective that I do for my clients, and throw that in and say, where are you at, where are you sitting, etc. We're doing like an offer audit. We're going to do some AI training, some copywriting. Like we're bringing in different members and different people and areas of expertise to help pour into the people who are members.
Yeah, what was interesting to me about this event is that I've been a part of this in paid conferences, right? Mm-hmm. I've been to masterminds where, it's real expensive to do it. Mm-hmm. I've never seen it done in a community networking event like that. And so I thought that was a really interesting take on how to do this. And Brian's part of a group that does this, right? Doesn't Vistage do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a member of it. It's mastermind-like.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like CEO training. Yeah. I never went to business school, so it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of us are making this up as we go along, right?
Absolutely.
It's 100%. And so like my only training is in making videos. Like I can make videos pretty well. That's my only real skill, right? So everything else I had to study. And so this stuff to me is so important for businesses to do because, like you said, there's no matter what level of success you're at, there's always some issue that you're having to try to tackle. And so I remember at the event that I went to, there was one company there that they had plenty of sales, right? They had lots of customers, lots of revenue coming in. Their problem was finding good people, to do the work, right? Which is a super common problem, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like you can back yourself up with sales and then you don't have enough people to do the work. And so, I don't think they'd ever thought through tackling how do we consistently hire people and how do we train people well and how do we take care of them so they stay and all that kind of stuff. And that's I love having that kind of conversation at a networking event. Not here's my business card, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of like you just shared, like you're really good at doing video and stuff, but then some of the other stuff you're kind of figuring out. And I feel like that's how most of us are. We have 1 or 2 things that we're pretty good at, and then everything else, not so much. And so when you can have not just a network, because there's plenty of networking things, but when you have a network of people like what we're trying to do, where you can come in and share some of those challenges, ideally you can pull from other people's expertise, and we'll set the format to do that where, like we said, like at a normal event, you're not just going to go up and be like, hey man, I don't think I'm gonna make payroll. Have you been through this? Hey, business is great. We're killing it in sales. My culture and employees are great, but I'm never home. My kids hate me. My wife's gonna leave me.
Sure.
Like, those are real problems that people have. And so, you know, maybe we plug you into someone who said, hey man, I'm on my third wife because I made those mistakes twice before I learned. Let's talk. You know, and those are just real things that people go through. Some of it's personal, some of it's professional.
Yeah. Well, I've got my hands full with the first wife, so I can't imagine having more than one.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about this all the time.
Big Lou, he's on wife
He's
number two.
on number 2. Oh my God. Yeah, we will have 29 years in August, and
awesome.
I still
Congratulations.
call her my first wife. You know, so I think it's interesting how that you know, like the home life part is so important, and then figuring out, and I hate the word balance. It doesn't describe it well. You know, like having work-life balance doesn't describe it well, because I don't think you can be super successful at a business unless you give as much as you can to it, but you still have to have time to for yourself and to do things for yourself and for your family. And you know, so all of those things are not things you normally tackle at a networking event. So I think that was an interesting element of being able to do this. What were y'all doing before this? What in the world made you think you could do this as a thing? What was sort of the path to starting this thing?
For me, I had an epoxy coating company, so I was in that industry for 11 years, and my business partner was my father-in-law, and so we knew at some point we were going to transition out of that. He was going to want to retire, and then I had other things I was very interested in, I wanted to do, but it came a little quicker than we thought. He had some family things going on that made it very difficult for him and my mother-in-law to have the time to dedicate to stay in the business, and so we knew that was going to come a little quicker. And we had been going to these masterminds in different parts of the country and participating in them, investing the time and the money to go. And that's what I really love. I love talking business and working through problems and just kind of, you know, just talking shop. And so I like that setting and that format. And I was like, how can I just do this all the time and get paid to do it?
Yeah.
And so when we started thinking about, you know, like Best of the Midlands and what we wanted to do here, it was like, you know, we love these masterminds and going and meeting people who are interested in growth and just being in that atmosphere. It's like, how can we create that locally where we can be in that environment more often and not have to drop several grand and go to Naples, Florida, Rhode Island, and all these different places. And so that was where it's like, how can we set this up where I can do this all the time
and do it here
and be here?
Yeah.
So that was really like my reasoning for wanting to get involved in that and kind of do it.
Yeah, and Lexington's one of those kind of places where if I was, because like I went to one of these in the Detroit area, but we weren't in Detroit. We were 45 minutes from Detroit, right? Which is still Detroit, right? And so, but it was just the guy that started it. It was just his little town that he lived in, and we went to his office, and that's where everything happened. Lexington's the kind of town that type of thing happens in, you know. Everybody comes there and, oh, it's so cute, you know. And they don't notice the traffic because they come from a place with a lot of traffic, you know. But,
yeah.
So I think it's a great idea. Courtney, what's your background?
So my background is actually in business analytics and IT. So went to college for that, got a corporate job, hated my corporate job, couldn't stand people telling me what to do, and then I couldn't leave at certain times. And so I actually, like 6 months after graduating from college, we were, I think, engaged at the time. And I said, hey, I am going to quit my job and start a business. And he was like, if you're sure, like, we'll do it. Like,
I was still in college.
Yeah.
I wasn't done yet.
So I quit my job. I started as a virtual assistant, you know, low barrier to entry, get in and just kind of do the things that I knew how to do really well. And from there, I kind of like grew it, I scaled it, and then I got more into the system side of things. So I now run Scale Up, which we do systems, automations, visibility marketing, those types of things for businesses like his old epoxy coatings company.
Sure.
So that's kind of where my background is, on the operations system side of things.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, IT leads to a bunch of interesting things. I find that very few people graduate with IT and stay with IT as long as they need to. They usually get it and go, ooh, I don't really like this, and then move into something else. So that was my background too. So, and I didn't like I wanted more of a creative pursuit, right? And so it wasn't super creative. Like with IT, especially if you're working with one system, you pretty much just learn that system, and then you just rinse and repeat. Every single thing happens the same way over and over again, and so it's cool to be able to kind of stretch beyond. Where do you see this going? What do you guys want out of Best of the Midlands? Where do you feel like it could go?
Yeah. So what I kind of see is still doing the small like hot seats events that are open to the public, and then doing our trainings and bringing different experts in. But what I would really like to see is moving it up to having like 1-day seminar style events or workshops, doing the masterminds, 2.5 day events, 2 or 3 times a year. And something that we're working on rolling out is some cooperative marketing. So bringing in members and then being able to help them get on mailers or Facebook ads, billboards, but we'll do it in a co-op style where we maybe put 6 or 8 people on there, and instead of someone having to spend $2,000 to be on a billboard, maybe we can get you on there for $500 and put you under the Best of Midlands brand, get your brand out there, but also let you get in front of a lot more people at a much more reasonable price. So different things like that we want to roll out too, and we're working on rolling out now with some people we have on the team. So just finding a way that we can help businesses grow, not just from a strategic point, but also, sometimes beyond the strategy, you have to put your boots on the ground and get out there and get in front of people and get known. So how can we kind of bring all that here and just put a good thing in place for businesses? So that's really what I want to do. And I have some other ideas that are a little bit bigger for way down the road, but I think those are like kind of the foundational pieces we have to get in place first.
Nice.
What do you have industry restrictions? So like only one bricklayer?
Nope. No, so that's one of the things we didn't want to do. And I think there's a place for that, like with like B&I and things like that. There's a place for and a reason for that. But with us, what we've seen is even when you have multiple people in the same industry in a room, you can learn a lot from one another, and there's benefit to that if you have an abundant mindset. So like even when we had the concrete coatings company, we knew several of the other businesses, and we had great relationships, and we were able to work together, whether that was, hey, we can't fit this in, we're too busy, do you guys have an opening, we can send each other work, and we sent work to each other. If we forgot to order a product, we could reach out and buy it off each other. So there's value into knowing the competition and having at least a decent enough relationship with them from a day-to-day standpoint. But then also at some point, most of us want to retire or sell or get out of the business. And so if you have great relationships, that's an easy call to say, hey, I'm thinking about exiting. If you have a good enough relationship, do you want to acquire us? Or, hey, we want to grow rapidly. Can we do a merger and bring people together and do stuff like that to increase value, to try to sell to private equity and stuff and like the home services? So we want it to be open to anyone, because the more perspective we can bring in, the more we can learn from one another. So when you limit that, it makes it a little bit harder to make that open to get more information for people to learn and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think too, from that perspective, y'all as a networking entity could network with other networking entities.
Mm-hmm.
We had
Absolutely.
Jonathan Gamboa on for professionals on the patio, and like that would be a good cross, because they get a bunch of people at their event.
Yeah.
That would definitely probably attend your event, and that's Colt was at your event, and that I knew him from Professional on Patio.
Yeah.
We're a small enough community that kind of stuff makes total sense to cross pollinate, between all of those things.
What time does your event happen?
Yeah, typically it's on the last Friday of the month from 2 to 4.
Oh.
What, right? Friday from 2 to 4. I was like, that was why I went last time, by the way. I wanted to get out of the office. I was like, I saw it on Facebook, and I was like, let's see, it's Friday afternoon. I kind of want to get out of the office. If it's over at 4 o'clock, then I'm not coming back to the office.
No, no one works Friday afternoon anyway.
Perfect.
So, start a little early.
Like, why are we doing Tuesday morning at 8?
Yeah.
That's nuts. Let's do Friday at 2 o'clock, right? Happy hour and all that stuff. Yeah. No, that was one thing that attracted me to it. It was just the time.
I mean,
it's like,
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. What are y'all doing so, I think moving those events from that 6, 8, or 10 people to 20 people, what's the plan for kind of increasing the engagement?
So I think the big thing is just continuing to get in front of people, show up, go out and talk to people and let people know what it is. And then the big thing is, and I hate to say this, but I think once you experience it, it's a little bit easier. So a lot of people are kind of wondering, like, what is this? What is a hot seat? They've never been a part of something like that. So there's still a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah.
So I think, just being consistent, and over a few months, it will kind of take on legs of its own. At least that's my hope.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's the big thing is, just letting people come in, even if it is, 10 people here, 12 people here, 8 people there. That's okay. As long as we show up and deliver and make sure people are getting value, then people will start to learn what it is and see the value in it. And then that's where it can start to build and, go from there.
Well, I will tell you this last event, and I don't know if he came because I wasn't able to go myself, but somebody saw that I had shared it. I shared it on Facebook, and somebody texted me to say, hey, did you go to this thing last time? What is it? And so I was able to talk to him about, like, this is what it is. I highly recommend it. I thought this was really cool. And I don't know if he came or not, but it's that type of thing, especially in a small market like this, is it's everything.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is we could probably dump a lot more money in and get bigger numbers. But I think a big thing for us is that I've seen from some other events is sometimes you just want numbers at events, and that's okay depending on how you're structuring the event. But for us, with what we're doing, we don't necessarily want numbers. We want the right people who are going to be willing to contribute in the ways we want. So that means, staying a little smaller for a few months to make sure people see what it is. I'd rather have that so we don't have just random people showing up who aren't interested or aren't going to contribute. So, I think that's kind of where I think of it. You've been to the event, so you understand.
Well, and I think the small numbers also help people be a little more open.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was gonna be my next question: is what does the confidentiality look like for you guys? How do you guys handle that?
So we kind of stole some of this from the framework we have.
Borrowed.
Okay, valid.
whatever. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So we host a life group for our church, and we have these guidelines, to structure our time together, to make sure we're getting the most out of it. And there's pieces of it that we were like, this really makes sense. And it was similar to the other hot seat events we've been to at different masterminds and things. And so we basically said, okay, this is the guidelines for our time during this hot seat event. We're all going through things. We all may experience different things, but what we share in this room stays in this room. And we kind of just set the culture in the beginning of, this is the expectation, and this is how we want people to feel comfortable. Because if you were sharing something like this, you wouldn't want me going to Joe over there and being like, hey, did you hear that so-and-so is struggling with payroll, or so-and-so is having a hard time with X? No one would want that. So we, again, just setting the expectation of culture up front. And in other rooms we've done it in this, it's always been respected and really easy to maintain.
Yeah, I think a big thing too is, especially for the hot seats, since that is a public event that's open to anyone, you should always use discretion on what you want to share, because there is less control we can have over something like that. Whereas when we get into the members only events and, masterminds and stuff like that, where people are paying extra to be at, or, spending, a couple grand to be at a mastermind, you typically have a little bit more control over what people are going to do. People are a little bit more bought into what's going on because they've invested and have some skin in the game. So at a public event, I would still use some caution on how open you want to be about certain things. But like we said, we want to try to set the culture where people feel comfortable to share. But at the end of the day, you may not air out all your dirty laundry at a completely public event that's not controlled by a member paywall or anything.
Yeah, it made me want to. I don't carry business cards usually. It made me want to get some business cards so I could put my business card in the thing. It's like I hadn't had them in 2 years, and it just kind of made me want to have a business card so I could get drawn. That would motivation. Talk about having this in Lexington. There's from my observation from our little perch here next to Columbia, there doesn't seem to be a lot of those things happening in Lexington. Talk about having it in Lexington, and is it just you live there? Why Lexington?
I'll let her answer in a second, but for me, at least from my perspective, is we live in Lexington, so it's easy for us. We have 4 young kids, so every time like we do one of these things, we have to have a babysitter. So it just makes it convenient. That's really the biggest reason, honestly. It's not like we have anything against Columbia. If we lived closer over there, we'd do it over there. It was just more of a convenience thing, and really, like, I joke with my family who lives out of state when they come, like, how long does it take to get here, get there? I'm like, 25 minutes. Everywhere you go, it's 25 minutes. So as long as we can kind of be in a somewhat centrally located place where people can hop over pretty quickly, it seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it was, okay, how far away from the house? Because we do have 4 young kids. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting a babysitter for this and that. And, like, so logistics is a huge part. But also, like, everything we do is in the Lexington area. Yeah. And the space ended up being just, like, the perfect place for us, the atmosphere and all of that. So if that space wouldn't have been available, we probably would have been looking more on the outskirts, potentially Columbia. But yeah, really, truly came down to logistics. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, and that's what you do, right? You just start where you are at, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool. And that the space that you were in is what is it called again?
Multivino,
which is a wine club.
Yes, we've been trying to get Tony to come join us on the podcast.
Oh, nice, Tony, if you're listening. So I thought it was really cool. Now, I'm not a wine drinker. I wouldn't be able to tell you one bit of difference between any of those wines. You know, they had 40 wines around the room in these little dispensers, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you the difference of any of them. But I was like, well, do we get a wine glass? Can we
is that part of it?
Is that part of the networking event? Because let's do that, you know. But it was a very cool space, you know. And I guess they're putting one in Columbia, or they have one in Columbia?
They have one in Forest Acres.
In Forest Acres, yeah.
And I think the third one just opened up, I believe, in West Columbia. It just opened up recently.
Oh, that's right, on State Street. Yeah, that's right. I knew I'd seen another one somewhere. I think that's a very cool idea. I hope they do that for beer at some point, because I could get behind that. But
it is a cool concept, and that's one of the reasons we liked it. Is so we're not huge drinkers. But we're members there, so we go in there and work during the day sometimes. It's kind of like a secondary office space if you want, or you can meet with clients there. And then Tony's great to work with for events and things like that. So, you know, we've done the hot seats there. We've done some members-only stuff there, and it's just an easy way to go in. You don't have to worry about, you know, random people coming in and out. It's just if someone comes in, they're going to be a member. They come in, grab their bottle of wine or fill up a glass and drink it, maybe have a meeting, and then they roll out, and it's quiet and simple. Well,
so through these hot seat events and the different things that you've been to, are there common things that you see? Are people struggling with the same stuff? What's a thing that business owners typically struggle with? What do you see happening?
So I think the things I've seen is, I'd say, limiting beliefs, and I struggle with that too, because especially when you're, you know, in the same space, around the same people all the time, you see what everyone else is doing. I think sometimes you kind of just get stuck in like that little pot where it's like, oh, this is what we do in this area, this is all I can do. And so when you can get into a different atmosphere, you can kind of break free of some of those mental roadblocks you have. And so that's what going to some of these mastermind events has done for me. And so that's what if we can recreate that, I think it'd be really powerful, because, you know, a lot of times we'll see what our friends are doing, or what our aunt or uncle or, you know, whoever in our area is like, oh, you know, we can get this thing to about $2 million, $3 million. That might be all we can ever do. And it's like, no, there's some ways around that. But how big do you want to go? What's your vision? And ultimately, what do you want? Like, some people don't want to have a $20 million company. They're very comfortable at $2 million. That's all they want to handle. So, you know, it's how do we figure out how to get past those roadblocks, and also help you figure out what do you actually want? Because I've noticed that a lot of people, they get into something and they're going, but they don't really have a vision for where they want to end up. They're just kind of rolling with whatever comes their way.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So let's talk about the husband-wife dynamic in an entrepreneurial household. How has that been working out for you guys with 4 small kids? That's an intense.
Brian also has 4 small kids, so that's you know.
Can relate, yeah.
Well, you said we're all figuring stuff out. I'd say we're still figuring some of that stuff. Yeah. It's a day-to-day thing sometimes.
Yeah, it's helped that we've always kind of been this way. He's always been very visionary, and I'm very, like, integrator. So if you think of that dynamic.
IT, you think?
Yeah, exactly. So I am not the visionary. I'm like, you give me the idea, I have to execute and make it happen, or tell you absolutely not, that's not happening. So that part of the dynamic is really helpful. We work really well together. I know some people, like spouses, like that's not like, but we actually work really well together. We know, or we've learned how to communicate, how to say like oftentimes I'm like, I can't talk business right now. I'm in mom mode or whatever. And kind of like you mentioned earlier, like balance, I hate that word, but I think we have been really intentional about how we structure our time and what we do. I'm a very routine-oriented person. I'm super type A, like systems are my life, and so I have a very structured routine for what we do. We also homeschool, so that adds like another layer
Nice.
to the dynamic. But again, it works really well. It's even better now that he is not on job sites and he sold, the coatings company. So there's a little more flexibility in what we do. But I mean, the routine is my life. And so if I didn't have that, we would probably crumble.
So I saw somebody on TikTok, Facebook, whatever, in the scroll at some point, and it was a family that used the EOS system to operate their family.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So they would use the,
conflict resolution and
well, they'd also, the core values, the like how to structure and how our family operates, and they would do the meetings based on family meetings based on the rocks and what are our challenges and what are all the different things, and be interesting if
I like that.
Yeah.
And we have like
I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, and we have like business core values, we have family core values, things like that. Now our oldest is 6, so we have 6, 5, 3, and 2. So we don't do like family meetings and stuff like that yet, but that's something I've seen people do similar things like that, not necessarily with EOS, but as they get older, I want to do those things. So I want them to, they already sometimes talk about business stuff because they just hear us talking about it, but I want to bring them in and have them be involved. So even if they're not interested in what we do and they want to do their own thing, they're at least learning it and hearing it and getting exposed to that pretty quickly.
Well, and once you get outnumbered, like you guys are, all y'all are outnumbered. My wife and I, we have 2 children, so my wife and I could at least take one.
Yeah.
And we're good. What is that called? What kind of defense is that?
Man-to-man.
That's man-to-man versus zone. Is that right?
Yes.
Zone is the other. Okay.
We're running cover 2.
See, I'm learning sports references.
Zone, if you had 3 kids, zone defense.
I see. Right. So once you get to 4, though, you're outnumbered. So if they wanted to take over,
1 kid is
could.
double coverage.
Right.
But I mean, we could always just take one and go, right? And so with 4, I mean, you've got to have some kind of system because I mean, it could get into chaos if you don't. I guess, right?
I'm not sure if you've experienced this, but sometimes when you have friends or family who aren't in business, they don't necessarily relate to you, and so it'll be business doesn't really turn off. There is no balance, like you said. Like sometimes you're doing calls at 10, you're getting emails at 2 in the morning. It's just part of it, and so people don't always understand that kind of entrepreneurial or business ownership lifestyle when they're not in it. And I feel the same thing with, like you said, with that structure or system with kids. We have been pretty structured with how we do things with the kids, and it sometimes frustrates people because they're like, why didn't you notice? And it's like, because if we don't do this, we're going to pay for it for the next 2 days, and we have other things and other obligations that we have to do. So we need them to be on this system or structure so we can get on a client call or go to the job site or all these different things. And so sometimes people don't always get that, but you do have to have some stuff in place or it can get pretty chaotic, and it still gets chaotic.
Well, and the thing is, when they're still young, like y'all's is, this is the part where you're starting to realize that your parents probably didn't know what they were doing either, and then it shuts down the whole belief system. Like, oh no, my parents really didn't know what they were doing either, and so we're all just kind of figuring it out, right? And every kid is different. I got 4 separate personalities. I can't even imagine. I have a hard enough time with 2 different personalities. I can't imagine with 4.
What are the genders of your children?
2 girls, 2 boys.
Oh, even. All right.
Yep.
Nice.
I got 4 boys, so it's just literally balls to the wall.
All the time. All the time.
Chaos all the time. Yeah. And Brian, the thing about that I think is great about his kids is that he's able to relate to them with sports. The boys love the sports, and they're able to really communicate well on that, and I think that really helps, Well,
like last night, we all the sports are starting next week. This week, next week. And so I took the 3 older ones to play it against sports for like the last half hour they were open. And
Yeah.
okay, we got cleats, we got a new glove, we got bats, we all 20% off and used. So, because their cleats don't last more than a season anymore. So
Yeah.
took those guys, and then my wife stayed home with the baby, and she was just hanging out, having winding down time, because she has a full-time job and doesn't have flexibility, and it helps balance things out that way for us to make
Well,
it.
and I'm not saying balance is a bad thing. I'm just saying like the word balance doesn't sum up what
in
you're
the
doing.
in the idea of work-life balance. There's even in a marriage, it's never 50-50.
Right, it's always
right.
100,
So there's never balance, true balance. But if you want to really get philosophical with it, the closer to balance you can get, the better. Energy balance.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. You know, I want to get philosophical with it, but I think that I think there's got to be a better way of describing it than just work-life balance, because that indicates that you shut it off at a point, you know, and I just don't think you can ever shut it off, you know.
No.
When I'm scrolling TikTok at 10 o'clock at night, I'm still looking at business stuff. You
Well,
know, it's like
it's an intentionality, and you guys talked about intentionality, right? So if you are coming home from a long day, in order to be present with your kids, you have to be intentional about that.
Yep.
So if it's sitting in your car for an extra 2 minutes to go think through, breathe, ground yourself, so when you get in, you're not tearing into the kids because you've had a bad day.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of intentionality around.
Yeah, just being present where you are.
living in the moment. And I talk to people about this all the time. You have to live in the moment. Like, I'm not thinking about anything else that I have to do today when we're in this conversation. So it's very much the same when you're dealing with your family and your kids. I was texting with a friend of mine. He texted at like 5:30 this morning. I was like, why are you texting me at 5:30? And he's like, because he was responding to a text that I had said, just, hey, hope you're having a good time on your trip. He's like, yeah, we're having a great time, but I can't wait for the kids to go back to school, or something along those lines. And I was like, yeah, I've stopped using the word vacation, and it's just a family trip. So he's like, yeah, that makes sense.
It is not a vacation for us.
No.
Yeah. We always thought that too. It's like every time we went on long trips with the kids, it's like, nope, we're taking the kids on a vacation. We're chaperoning the kids on a vacation. That's
I'm parenting in a different location with less activity ability to do.
Sometimes it's more stressful because you don't have the, you know, at least when you're at home, you kind of have a system and you know what to do. When you're out in public, it's kind of like, well, just kind of shooting from the hip a little bit. But
well, my daughter's starting 10th grade this year, and this was her first summer where she didn't have camps. She didn't have vacation Bible school. She had nothing exterior going on at all.
Sounds like she's ready for a job, Bill.
That's what I said in May. I was like, you got to get a job. Go get a job.
Baskin Robbins needs some scoop.
That's right. She's like, well, I'm only 15. I can't really get. I was like, no. Somebody will hire you. You go get a job. She never did. So last week she came to me. She's like, I am so ready for school to start. Now this is high school. Okay. This is like the worst. Now middle school is the worst, but high school is second worst. She wants to start school. That means that her summer was boring. Right?
she needs something going on.
And so I don't know what to do with that. I'm never bored. So I don't know if y'all are in that situation. I'm sure you are. But I'm not sure I've ever been bored in my whole life, right? And so having to deal with a teenager who complains about being bored, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you have the complete freedom to do whatever you want at any point, you know. She could leave the house early in the morning and not come back until the evening. We probably wouldn't even, have a problem with that. It's just like, don't be bored. Don't tell me you're bored, because I'll give you something to do.
Yeah.
You're not going to like what I give you.
That's right. That's right.
So what's the homeschool plan?
Yeah, so they're little right now.
Yeah.
So Emerson's going into second grade, Luke will be in kindergarten, and Giovanna's starting preschool. So we have a very, loose curriculum. Like, we have a curriculum we follow, but honestly, school takes us 45 minutes to an hour at most. We do go to a co-op once a week, so I take all the kids to a co-op. I teach a few classes there. But then they just get to play and be kids. They're in activities, dance, jiu-jitsu. I think we're starting golf. I don't even, like, all the different things that they want to, you know, try out. But it's really pretty simple. Like, that part of it, there's a plan and there's structure, but I want them to be kids. And I want them to enjoy being kids and just focus on that.
So is it like school time where you are acting like a normal traditional teacher, or is it, hey, here's your work, you need to go do it, I'm going to come check on you later?
Yeah, so it's me teaching, but I kind of bounce. So we have like handwriting. So one kid start handwriting, which, like, you know, tracing letters and that kind of thing. And then I'll work on a lesson with the other kid. And then when they finish that lesson, I flip. Okay, you do your handwriting. I'm going to come over to you and do a lesson. And it's still pretty hands-on. Sometimes Emerson likes to do the lesson with Luca. So she's like teaching him because, you know, she can read and do all that stuff. But it's pretty hands-on right now, with me doing it with them.
Do you have like is there a homeschool curriculum that you have to follow?
We bought a curriculum, so we will follow, like, they have language arts and math and all of that, and then they do their science and some of their other stuff at co-op.
So do you think the homeschool thing is like a long-term, they're going to be homeschooled forever?
If they had a say, they would say no. But they're little and think that if they go to school, they get to play with their friends all day. And, like, Emerson's to the age where, like, no, you're not just going to be playing. You're going to be at a desk all day. And I would like to homeschool them. I think they'll see the benefit when they're a little older, and because they're like, oh, we love going to co-op because they get to see their friends. But there's a lot of activities involved in that because that's kind of the structure of it. Luca actually told me last night that he would love to sit at a desk for 6 to 7 hours a day and do school. I said, okay, so next week when we start school, you can sit at that table for 6 hours. And he's like, okay. So we'll see how that goes.
Were you guys homeschooled?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we weren't, but her aunt and uncle who live in Aiken, they have 10 kids, and so they have homeschooled all their kids. The oldest is 30 and the youngest is 11.
Yeah.
So they've homeschooled all and still are homeschooling, and they actually she runs the co-op of like 200 people that they go to. So we've got to see that structure and how they've done things, and how they were able to progress through that. And, you know, even her cousins, even though they're homeschooled, they played sports for like the school they were zoned in and everything. So seeing how all that works. So I think if we can have it our way, they'll be homeschooled, and we can know that it can be a great thing. And then it also gives us the opportunity to bring them to things. Like when we went to a mastermind in Naples, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago, we actually brought all the kids. So we went down a few days early. We did family stuff, went to the zoo, went to the pier, and hung out. And then during the mastermind, Courtney has a business partner for another business that we have, and her kids watched our kids for the 2 days that we were all at the mastermind together. So, like, we want to be able to bring them to stuff like that so they can just, again, be in that kind of environment. And if they're in school, you start getting in trouble if you miss too much. We're homeschool. It's like, hey, we're rolling to Florida for this. We're going to go to Mount Rushmore, and hey, we're going to do school there. We're going to talk about, you know, so we can have a little
write
more
a report.
versatility. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's always been very interesting to me. There's a family that is in the downtown area who's got 11 kids, and they homeschooled all of their kids, and, you know, they're through college already, and their youngest is like 7 or whatever, but they have 9 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
So
Good gracious.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Wow.
the vehicle, they have a you know, those Ford Excursions. Well, they have like 350,000 miles on it, and they've put a couple different transmissions in it, and they've outfitted the far back to have extra seats so they can fit like 9 people in that car.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. Well, I will tell you that my son had a lot of trouble with school until he graduated high school, and then he started a business, and he's running his business, and that's how he makes his living. He's 21 now. That's how he makes his living. You know, whatever happens when
he's coming over to my house this afternoon.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, but he's been a great guy since he graduated high school. Like, school was the problem, and if I had known that school was the problem, you know, the idea of him having to sit in the desk and him having to do all that stuff was the issue, I probably would have done something differently.
But do you think he would have been able to say, okay, Mary, you are going to teach him homeschool?
Oh no, we talked about it, and she said absolutely not,
Yeah.
right? And so, you know, because he was such a disciplinary issue at school, she's like, I'm not dealing with that at home, you know, because we had a pretty together home situation. It was just he was a disciplinary problem at school, and so she didn't know how she would have dealt with that at home. I mean, we were running our business at the time, and you know, she would have had to basically stop doing that to homeschool him, and so we just decided that it was kind of the lesser of two evils, unfortunately. And but once he graduated high school, everything was great, you know, and he's been on straight and narrow, you know, since then. But it's just interesting, you know, that what would have happened if we had been brave like this and taken that step, you know. Yeah. I love how there's no right or wrong way to do it. You can just do it whatever works for you, which is really cool.
Sometimes you got to hope for the best. Yeah. And I can understand the school thing, because even for me, I was good at school, but I didn't enjoy school. My big thing was I knew I played a lot of sports, and if I wanted to play, I had to make sure I was at least, you know, eligible to play.
Yep.
And so, like, even like reading, I didn't like reading or anything, because they told you what to read, and I wasn't interested in any of that stuff.
Right.
But once I got to college, and I could, for the most part, read the things I wanted to do and do, like, pick the classes I wanted to do, for the most part, I was much more interested, because I was getting to do the things I liked.
Oh yeah.
And so that helped me a lot after school. Like, I was good at school because I had to be, not because I enjoyed it or wanted to be.
Well, and it's so interesting. Most of the structural stuff that we do with school is a little backwards, right? And my daughter at 12, 13 years old is learning algebra, and she's learning it. She's like, I got it. I don't know why I'm learning it. I don't know why you're learning it. It's like, ask your teacher why you're learning it. They don't really know why she's learning it. And so, like, we're just trying to teach them problem solving, which I feel like could be done in a different way. And then now she's 15. They're hounding her about what college she's going to go to and what she's going to major in. I'm like, she's 15. I didn't even know what I was going to do for a living until I was 32 years old.
I still don't know what I'm going to do.
Right. Like, this job that I do right now didn't exist when I was 15.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have said, hey, let's go do this, you know, because it wasn't a thing, you know. And so I just think it's fascinating. So homeschooling would absolutely allow you to just say, oh, well, here's something that's kind of cool. Let's go that way, right? And so, you know, I think it's definitely a cool thing to be able to do. My daughter wants to be homeschooled because she hates school. That's one of the other interesting reasons why I think, you know, her saying she can't wait for school to start is bizarre. But, you know, because she hates it. But, like, she wants us to homeschool her. But I'm like, not at the level she's at. She's going into pre-calculus, and like I'd have no way to know whether she was doing the right thing or not.
Yeah.
You know? I'm sure there's standardization to everything, but
there's a lot of online programs too where you don't have to be the teacher.
Right.
So those are options too, but just, again, different avenues for whatever fits. You know?
Yeah. That's really cool. Well, I think it's interesting too that you know, you guys. I feel overwhelmed with the few things that I'm doing. You know, just got the one business, one grown son, and one high school daughter who doesn't really talk to anybody anymore, and you know, y'all are rolling with all this stuff. You know, and so are you're running your business still?
Yeah.
So Best of the Midlands isn't the primary source at this point?
No, I'm just, I say just co-founder. Like, I help, like I said, I help iterate the ideas, but my business is, I'd say, 60 to 70% of my focus, from a work perspective.
Right.
So I have a team that's amazing who helps me get everything done, and then Best of the Midlands, and I also have a business partner for another venture that we're starting.
Awesome. Well, give us a networking tip. So as you go to a networking event, whether it's a Professionals on the Patio style or B&I, let's say you get invited as a guest or something, what's a good networking tip?
It's a great question.
Bring business cards.
Yeah, business cards are a great start.
It makes me unique. I'm the one guy without business cards.
I did remember that. I was like, I know who he is because he did not have the business card.
That's not a technique. It's just I literally ran out and didn't want to get them reprinted.
And we tried that dot thing. That was
I have a dot card.
Oh, yeah.
People don't want it. Like, I put it up to their phone. Like, don't put that thing next to my phone. Like, what are you doing? You know? And so, I don't know. I'm sorry. So what's a tip for networking?
So I think one thing that I try to do and then I talk with people about is just go there for the genuine connection. Like, a lot of us, we go in and we're like, okay, I'm hoping to find this person or this referral partner or this or that. Like, what if you just walked in the room and said, I really just care about the people I'm going to meet and how can I help them? Mm-hmm. And really just being helpful to those people, and it's going to come back and they're going to reciprocate, and there's that aspect. But I like to just walk into a room and be like, how can I support you? How can I help you? And I think that's done a lot for me in my business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good. And so Edwin, how do you say his
Gerace.
last? Gerace, yeah.
He was there?
He was at that
nice.
that one but he was the only one I knew. I had seen Colt at Professionals on the Patio, but I didn't know him. I had never met him. And I thought, and he had always dressed like a cowboy when he was at Professionals on the Patio. So he wasn't dressed like a cowboy. I was like, there's something different here, And so he had apparently changed jobs, and the new job required he wear a polo, And so, but Edwin was the only one I knew. And so I thought that was really cool. Anytime I can go to a networking event where I don't know people, I want to make sure that I'm going to a room that's not full of people that I know.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not really,
So basically, he's only going to come a couple times, then he meets everybody, and then he's not
Yeah.
Never gonna show up again.
Then it's got to be new people, or else I'm out. And what's so dumb is that I'll go in there and I'll only talk to the people I know already.
Yeah.
And so that's not the right way to do it. But that's not a good tip. Don't go to networking events and only talk to people you know already. But that's awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I think this is really fun to talk to people that we don't know very well and get to know y'all. And this your story is fascinating. I mean, honestly, to be able to do all the things that you're doing, it's cool. So we end up every podcast with our 5 favorites. So we're going to ask you kind of both of you to answer the question. So let's start off with favorite movie. Greg, what's your favorite movie?
If I had to put one up there right now, it might be Remember the Titans.
Oh,
I love that movie.
Okay.
So that would be up there for me. I don't know exactly number one, but it's definitely up there.
So we just did a commercial for United Way where they did an NIL deal with one of the USC football players, and our concept was Denzel Washington's speech from Remember the Titans. We were promoting their reading program, and so he was supposed to go in and read a book to elementary school kids, and instead he got up and started talking about victory and winning, and the kids said, hey,
awesome.
Weren't we supposed to read a book? And then that was the whole joke, But it was all based on Remember the Titans. So
I like that.
Nice. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'll have to go back and watch it again. What about you? What's your favorite movie?
Jurassic Park.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
The original?
Yes.
Yeah?
I mean, I love all of them in different ways, but yeah, 100%.
So I just finished the Jurassic World series, except for the new one that's not on streaming yet.
Yeah.
And they're ridiculous. They are ridiculous.
I love them so much.
They are way over the top. Like I cannot. My daughter and I just sat there, just like literally Mystery Science Theater 3000 Jurassic World, because it is just so ridiculous, and we love it so much.
Yeah.
So to give you an idea how much she likes this movie, so after we both had corporate jobs after college, and we both quit those jobs, we sold everything, we bought a big dually and a camper, and we traveled the country for about a year.
Nice.
So we were out west a lot, and we would boondock. So
Right.
we'd turn our generator on, and that's when we'd charge everything, watch the movies. We've watched Jurassic Park almost every single day.
Yeah.
Because the generator was running for those couple hours to charge everything, and we cut it off. So we'd watch Jurassic Park, or there's another movie called Tremors. We pretty much watch those 2 movies all the time.
Tremors based in the desert,
Yes.
which is that's a scary thing to watch while you're in the desert. Yeah. Have you read the book?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just read the book last year, which is really a fun thing to do. Once you love the movie, then go read the book, because it gives you so much more detail about what goes on, and the story is very different, which I think is very interesting. Okay, favorite band, favorite musical artist of all time.
You start on this one. Give me a minute to think of this.
This is a horrible question for me because I don't know anybody's names. I don't listen to a lot of music.
That
Who do you listen to during data?
That's an interesting answer in itself.
Okay. So whenever I do like deep data work and I'm like really in the analytics, I will listen to Lil Wayne. So,
Oh.
Okay.
I know.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
Man.
That is interesting how the music question stumps so many people. Because it's something I think about all the time.
Well, you're a music person.
I know, but like, you know, like I'm constantly going through the top 5 in my head, you know?
Yeah.
And
I think the hard part is I listen to so many podcasts now. I rarely listen to music.
Yep.
But if I'm just like listening to music, it's probably going to be something that's just like older country, like 90s country, maybe like Tim McGraw or something.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's cool. That's a good one. Favorite dessert?
That was going to be the one I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
I don't eat dessert, so I like
Sure.
candy.
Okay.
So candy.
Candy's a dessert. That works. That's what my daughter tells me. You know, she'll have Jolly Ranchers or what are those the gummy worms that they all love? Sour Patch Kids.
Kids?
Yeah,
Mhm. Yes.
those are desserts for her. You know, so
Yeah.
I have a sweet tooth. I love sweets. If I had to pick one, it'd be German chocolate cake.
Oh.
But
Nice.
man, I can take out some sweets.
okay, very good. Go.
Favorite kid? No, I'm just joking.
Do you have a favorite of the 4?
Let's edit that out when
No.
we're done.
All right.
No, I'm just joking. Favorite season?
So mine has changed. So we're originally from Illinois. So we've been
okay.
down here almost 9 years, I think.
8 years.
8 years. So back in the Midwest, it was fall. So I love like when the season starts to change into that. You start breaking out the hoodies. You have bonfires. That's when football season's starting. So I love that then. Now it's just still hot. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really change.
Fall is essentially November. You know,
Yeah, so I honestly now I'd say it's summer here because we can do so much more outside with the kids. If our winters here were a little colder, I actually like the cold and the snow, but we don't get any of that here. So.
Right. What about you? Favorite season?
Probably fall.
Okay.
Halloween is my favorite holiday.
Nice.
So.
Brian's
We
from
just
Wisconsin.
Skip the. Yes, I am from Wisconsin.
So
So you get the snow and
Summer's my favorite. Was my favorite then, still my favorite now.
yeah. I don't like this 100 degrees for 2 weeks in a row. It's like, no thanks.
That's too much.
Yeah. We even us, my wife and I both grew up here, and we're not going outside. It's like, this is terrible. My wife has been house sitting for some friends of ours at the lake this past week, and so we've been able to stay at this lake house for the last week. And it's 95 degrees at 9 o'clock at night. Like, you want to go sit on the dock, and but you can't because it's just stupid hot.
Sweating as soon as you walk
yeah,
out.
it's oppressive. It's like, so I don't like it any more than y'all do.
So
but-
last one, favorite state that you visited,
That's so easy.
since you guys are travelers.
Yeah, I loved southern Utah.
Okay,
Oh.
nice.
We stayed in like some of the national forests and stuff, and it's just unmatched to anywhere I've been.
Nice. I've been to Utah. I don't think I've been to southern Utah, especially. Where did I go in Utah? I guess
Probably Salt Lake City.
went through Salt Lake City. I don't remember why though. I went through Utah somewhere. I don't remember. I was driving back from California and went through Utah, so I don't remember why exactly. But that's awesome. What about you? Favorite state you visited?
yeah, it's funny. We actually have a map by our door, and whenever we stay out of state, we can scrape it off, and it just like a watercolor underneath. And southern Utah, I did like that a lot. But just not to pick the same one. I'll say Nevada, because when we were out there, we actually got stuck in the desert, and we were out there for a while before we could get like emergency tow to like pull us out.
Wow.
And but when we traveled, we had a German Shepherd with us, and he's still alive. But we would just like go out during the day and like run around the desert and like try to like chase coyotes.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was just fun. Like he was like a little puppy back then.
Stuck like in the sand?
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
like our
like,
camper was like
stuck.
Oh,
buried
wow.
down to the axle, and we couldn't get out.
Wow.
So we were kind of stuck. We got the truck
Because
out.
of like a windstorm that blew the sand
No,
drifts.
we didn't realize how soft it went. It went from gravel to sand, and there was nothing to insinuate that. When you're boondocking, you don't really know. You're relying on other people's data in like an app, Like, this road's safe. It was not safe as far as we went.
Okay. So I guess you're gonna have to really explain boondocking then,
because you said boondocking several times, and I'm making a insinuation that I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Like homesteading, but with a trailer.
Like, we were literally out in the middle of the desert with nothing, no power, no nothing. Like,
okay.
the generator was our only like source of power, and like typically you're 20, 30, 40 minutes from a city and just in the middle of nature.
You have water tanks built in the camper, so you can still shower and everything, but you have limited water. You have what you're carrying, whether that's 40, 60, 80 gallons, whatever's on the camper. Then you have your generator, so if you want power, you got to fire that up, and that's when we would charge our stuff, because we'd work. As long as we had Wi-Fi, we could work. And so you're just kind of out wherever you're at, and typically every week we were in a different spot, and then every couple weeks we were in a different state when we were doing that. So, and you just kind of have whatever's there. It's
so I guess like out in the
camping.
boonies is...
No, truly, yeah.
That's what it is.
The boondocks, you're in the boondocks.
Yeah, we were in different forests or deserts or different...
All right, let's go back. Homesteading? What does that term mean?
So homesteading is like if you were to basically kind of like live off your land almost.
Oh,
so like
okay.
having a
So
farm
you buy a
and
plot of land,
livestock
you
and garden.
You develop it into something that you can do, and generally it's you grow your own food and you solar power or you whatever. Yeah.
So that would be like, off the grid.
Off the grid.
Yeah, kind of.
That's the dream.
Which is basically boondocking.
That's right.
Kind of.
With a house.
With a house.
Yeah, boondocking is with a vehicle.
I'd say boondocking is like mobile.
Yeah.
And then like homestead or off the grid is like you're typically like you're in a physical
one
spot.
place.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome. I had no idea when I talked to you guys originally. I had no idea you were so like rugged and all that stuff.
Do you mountain bike? Bill mountain bikes a lot.
Yeah, that's true. I used to before there were violent dogs and
they
cars
opened them
and
up. They
attacking
must have
people.
caught them all.
There's a sign out front. Have you seen the picture? There's a sign out front that there have been violent attacks by dogs in these forests. If you enter the forest, you're taking the chance of being attacked by a dog. That's basically what the sign says. And I'm like, not yet.
We got dogs attacking people in the in the forest, and we have amoebas in the lake.
Yeah. It's a dangerous place to live right now.
South Carolina is.
Stay inside, I guess.
Nature. It's the heat.
And it's
what's
100
happening.
degrees.
Yeah,
so
that's right. It's the heat is doing it all.
I think we're in hell.
That's or adjacent at least. We're very close. Yeah. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for coming on. This was really fun to talk, and best of luck with Best of the Midlands. I'll definitely make the next one.
Sounds great.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.